to me, I don't feel that the situation is taken as serious as it should be. I don't feel like I feel like, you know, we didn't have any casualties, no loss of life, and I don't feel like it's taken as serious as it should be. It's more like, hey, there was a derailment off of Lafayette Boulevard near Cobblestone, and, you know, 4 garages got hit, and I don't see the seriousness or the intensity that I believe, you know, like CSX should be performing. I understand what you guys are doing, right? There's a checklist of things that you guys are doing, but I'm just telling you, myself and a lot of folks in the community, but I'll speak for myself. I don't feel like the intensity is there based on what really happened. Like it's kind of like looking at TV, but really it happened here in Fredericksburg. All the what ifs that we have been talking about more or less happened. And when it comes to rail car storage, we have, no matter what we don't have here stored anymore, which we don't have the ethanol, and temporarily at the moment we don't have, quote unquote, the propane. We do have our fire department that works every day and logs in information of what is in the city, at what time and how long they're there, which is very important. I more or less, besides just talking and asking questions, I would like to finish my comments to you, and I think the community has my back on this. I would just rather make a demand and demand publicly that you all don't store cars in our residential neighborhood area or anything located. So pretty much anything that's, I get you guys have your own shop. I get that. You guys have your shop. You have a right of way to do whatever you want to do. But let's just say it like this. Just because you have the right of way to do it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, you know, based on where folks live at. And I personally would, like I say, just make a demand that you guys don't store anything on the track, especially in you know, until this is all figured out. But it's always a thing of, well, this is here temporary, this is here. Now, if we had a derailment anywhere, because that one was a roll-off derailment, but anything can derail at any time. So if we have a VRE train that comes in, if that VRE train comes in and hits something, boom, there's an explosion, right? So it's all kinds of scenarios that happen. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe a train comes through every like 5 minutes or so. And I keep putting it out there that depending on what's on whatever particular stored rail car, depending on which way the wind is blowing, because we're located a few miles from Spotsy, a few miles from Stafford. Like and folks don't realize how close they really are. Folks don't realize how far Mine Road and Lee's Hill area is. Folks don't realize how far Ferry Farm is. It's literally right here. It's all one section. And depending on which way the wind blows, that's who's affected that particular day, depending on what's on that particular rail car. So publicly, instead of just talking it and over talking it like I know I can do, I would just like to make a public demand to say, stop doing it. And I guess we'll talk next time. Yeah. And if I get a call at 2 in the morning, I swear I still need you to pick up, because you know, it's going to be real issues happen at all times. But instead of saying what we should do and all that, I just really demand that you guys stop doing it for the sake of the citizens of Fredericksburg. And my one last comment, Mayor Devine, I said it before. I wish your CEO would buy one of those houses for sale on Railroad Avenue and move his family in there, or her family, whichever the CEO is, move in there and see how it feels to live there and watch that going on right directly in front of you and your family. And that's for whoever runs, you know, CSX, period. So I like to go on record saying that, hey, move your family here and see how it feels to you and your family, you know, when something's going on. So thank you. I understand you have a job to do, and I have the job to do as well, but it's kind of, in a sense, it's kind of outrageous that we've been working on these issues for so long, and then the what if did happen. So I'll just leave it at that, Mayor Devine. I'm getting a little hype right now.
Is anybody being held accountable specifically for their actions on that day?
Yeah, so we've taken this as a training opportunity for the crew that was involved. They were newer employees, and this was a new situation for them. So we sent them back through training related to air brakes and securing trains in situations like this when they're away from their home territory, from where they work every day. This is so that we've been doing additional training and education. These were newer employees that were involved.
Mr. Marcus, you mentioned the time in service for these employees, that they were relatively new employees. So it sounds like there was some information that they did not have, or some training that they did not have prior to the incident. First off, is that a correct statement?
They had the training. It's probably more the experience.
Okay. Is there, so then my next question is it a risk then for every train with a crew of that level of experience? Does that same level of risk then apply? Because it sounds like if there's a certain level of experience, there's a certain level of risk that we're going to be required to accept until there's a more experienced crew that happens to be coming through. Is that seems to be the logic here?
I don't think that's necessarily the case. Our crews go through extensive training.
I just want to say, clearly, everybody was relieved that there was no loss of life or no permanent displacement of anybody, and those were the really only positives. I know a bunch of us have met with residents from Cobblestone, some of the residents who lost their belongings, and many who were just clearly shaken by the incident. We do urge a review. We don't want this to happen again. We urge you to take Vice-Mayor Frye's comments very seriously about placing rail cars elsewhere. And I go back to a comment that you made where you said the typical derailment, cars remained upright. Well, then there was nothing typical about this derailment. And we have no guarantee that any derailment or any other traffic train flow would remain upright, and that's more than a concern for us. And so I'm not, we've asked you questions. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your response. We certainly appreciate the reaching out to the residents who lost their belongings. But we need more. We need some guarantees. We need to make sure that CSX is doing their part, and I agree with Dr. Duffy that it is not just the train operator that day. It goes further than that.
And thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity to come here and talk to you guys. And obviously, I know the Vice Mayor and I have talked about this a lot over the years, and I've literally thought about nothing else for the last 34 days, whatever it's been, and we do spend a lot of time, and we do care about this. We're doing significant things to make it better. With the tank cars, there's significantly fewer now, and we haven't guaranteed that they can't be there in the future. And I understand, well, that creates stress for your community. But I hear what everyone's saying. We're going to continue to make sure that we address the issues that caused this event. Then we're not saying that it's. I mean, I think that when we're saying today this is a teaching moment, I mean that's for all of us at CSX, for those of us, for the whether it's the location of the devices, the training we're providing, or whatever. It's something that we're all taking as our responsibility. It's not on any one person who made a mistake. That's why we're not singling them out or anything like that. But